Hello and welcome everyone to LCS Challengers presented by Subway, and we are on week number 1. You know what it is, you know what it is. It is playoffs, baby. This is where the action really starts to kick up, where eliminations start to kick in, and where dreams will get crushed, where new champions will rise. We have so much more here in playoffs. But my name is Eric Desirux Patron. Joining me, of course, is Beatdown Boulevard. What you got, Beat?
I was going to say, slow down, bro. This is double elimination. Everybody gets a second life. Dreams aren't getting crushed just yet, you know? Not yet. You're getting ahead of yourself. Don't leak the script.
By the way, before we start off, I was in a little bit of a rush, so can you check my head? Kangas buzzed my hair, so I got to make sure. Are there any bad spots?
Show the back.
Did you do a good job?
You did a better job than I thought when you first told me. You know what? You were good.
I was good. All right.
You're fine. Everything's fine. Yeah, everything looks good.
All right. Now that we got that out of the way, we can actually get into the business that we need to take care of. Let's first pull up the standings so we can see just how exactly things got here. And I want people to keep in mind that this first place, second place, even third place was very, very highly contested, all thanks to Supernova getting that one win against FlyQuest earlier in the season. But ultimately, things landed with FlyQuest first, Maryville second, and Supernova taking that third.
Yeah, right, and of course, Supernova, like you said, beating FlyQuest was quite an achievement. It was a really exciting win, and I was really happy to cover that one. Of course, you still have Maryville, who had first place for a little bit before FlyQuest very quickly yoinked it back by owning Mirage Alliance in their last game of the split. So a lot has happened so far throughout spring, and even though our top 3 is really set up, we still have other teams who are trying to make it through the playoffs. I mean, we can take a look at the bracket right now as well. This is basically what our first round matches are going to look like. And you know how seeding goes, AOE. They have a tough match ahead of them. And the other ones are exciting too.
You know, AOE is going to be in that 8th place seeding, which does put them against the first FlyQuest, but that's not to really put AOE down. I think they had a really tumultuous and competitive final 2 weeks of the season where, you know, sadly they just fell short, falling to Wildcard, falling to DSG. It puts them in a rather tough spot, so it's going to be a little bit of an uphill battle, but my eyes are going to be on that second match, which will be our second match of the day, mind you, which is Wildcard versus Fear. A little bit of an El Clasico. These are two teams that have kind of just stood around for so long within the challenger scene that haven't been LCS affiliated, as we do pull up the schedule. But yeah, we got 2 bangers coming up, right, Beat?
We do, and we're already hinting at it. AOE being 8th place means they draw FlyQuest, our number 1 seed, so that's going to be a tough matchup that we're starting right off with. And of course, Wildcard versus Fear, 2 orgs who have found quite a bit of success so far these last 2 years in Challengers League, so that's going to be an exciting one too.
So let's pull up our first match, FlyQuest Challengers versus AOE, starting with the rosters. It's going to be FlyQuest, and I mean, this team right here is not really too much you can say other than absolute pristine performance, man. They definitely put on some pretty good bangers. A lot of players arguably best in their role. Credit to Chime, who's taken a lot of the leadership responsibilities for guiding this squad when it comes to a lot of the shot calling. Overall, it's a great team.
Absolutely. I mean, first in your role for a lot of slots, as you said. Quad is easily the best player in the league. The amount of games he's won single-handedly with some of the play we've seen from him has been astonishing. So yeah, it's just part of what makes this team still a favorite in my mind for winning the whole thing, despite their loss to Supernova the other day.
And their opponents on the Rift is going to be Area of Effect. Now, this is a team that had quite a bit of confidence towards the last half of the season, but kind of came up short. But you did see those moments of brilliance. Onat is one of those that really do pop out to me. He's definitely been trying his best to punch above his weight class.
And I think when you look at this AOE roster, and AOE historically has been pretty solid, I think, in this Tier 2, Tier 3 scene, Eric. And you look at these individual players, they've made some waves in the amateur and the Tier 2 scene. But this roster right here, this team, they haven't quite been able to make it work. It's been pretty tough to see this team go into 8th place, getting this very difficult first round matchup. So now, since their loss to DSG last week, they're going to have 2 lives in playoffs. I'm really hoping that they're able to clean it up and at least show us a little more competitiveness going into playoffs.
I definitely feel that a lot, Beat, especially with AOE. We had higher expectations for this squad, and I even talked to some of the other players. Serty was saying that he he felt Zamudo's performance in NACL was just weird. He actually expected more of Zamudo coming into the season. So, I mean, expectations weren't met on all fields when it came to AOE, but now's the time. It's playoffs. This is where you can really turn those around.
Right, and just a quick reminder, too, we have been playing on Live Patch the whole time, but we are locking playoffs on 14.5. So this is going to be the next couple, I think 3 weeks, we'll be playing on the same patch, and it'll be interesting to see teams going back to playing on the same patch for a while and seeing what kind of iterations are going to come through.
All right, first picks coming in. Orianna will be locked in for FlyQuest. It was definitely a lot of bans going over towards the marksman role. You saw the Varus, Ashe, Senna, as well as the Kalista banned away. Now the response out of AOE, we're going to get Rosethorn on something a little bit more aggressive here as they hover towards the Xin Zhao. That'll be locked in.
Yeah, and I mean, you saw the Karma hover. This could be a really easy Karma Xin lock-in here on 1-2 for AoE. And that's a very strong pairing that usually you let through at your own peril when you're drafting. And that priority on Ori is interesting. I mean, this is quad. Again, like, this guy is the best player in our league. Like, he has just been performing far and away of everybody else. He's going to be able to get a lot more out of this champion maybe than other mids in the league. But I'm wondering if they're trying to set up for some kind of early Ori Nocturne combination or something here.
Yeah, something that gets the ball delivered into the back line. Could be a good way to blow it up. But hey, if you want a ball delivery system, well, Chime's going to be on Rakan this time. Good. They got the Lovers duo. So having that benefit of the natural synergy that you have down in the bottom lane. But I love the fact that you have something that's very aggressive on the engage for this Orianna.
Yeah, and of course you already have this really strong bot lane as well for Sajid and Chime. Just having that Xayah Rakan that honestly plays pretty well into a lot of 2v2s, especially when you see that Varus, Ashe, Senna, things like that are out of the picture.
Right, interesting. Next lock-in is going to be the Renekton. So this really does put a bit more pressure onto Rosethorn to perform because resources, at least for the top side of the map, are going to be pushed towards Rosethorn on this Xin Zhao. Yeah. Karma does great at kind of duo roaming alongside with the jungler.
Yeah, and I think Karma's really nice when you have a couple of melees. That Mantra E is going to get so much value on these kinds of champions. Bruisers that are going to be running basically head first into FlyQuest Challengers, and it gives you that opportunity to ban away things like the Jax, which is of course a really solid matchup, not early but later into the game, and a favorite of Surdy's.
All right, as we head into the second phase of the draft, this is going to leave the top lane as well as the jungle available for FlyQuest. As already the bans are coming through. They're going to target straight towards Surdy, taking away both the Jax and the Olaf. One more ban out of FlyQuest. They've still been targeting that marksman role, so this is going to be very, very pinched for Wixie.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Jinx ban. And we may even see a Smolder ban come through as well, because the nice thing with Xin, Karma, and Renekton, really strong and formidable in that early to mid game, and it's kind of that perfect setup to pick something really heavy on the scaling side for Wixie on the bottom lane. So I'm wondering, okay, so it's going to be the Lucian.
Right, that's a lot of marksman bans there. We got 6 in total going after Wixie. So the pool is very much pinched. I'm thinking of champions that can come through. Ezreal is one that comes to mind. At the moment, they're going for the support. Don't want to show the marksman just yet. They'll lock in the Lulu.
Yeah, that one is interesting. I mean, it still kind of adds that bit of scaling. You're going to have a double range bot lane, which is really nice. You offer even more shielding as well alongside the Karma there. And like we all know Karma's going mid, so it's fine to kind of get rid of that flex immediately there. But I am curious, leaving Wixie to the very last pick, I'm wondering what they're setting up for.
Let's see. Aphelios is another champion that's available that Wixie's played before.
There's Nocturne.
That Nocturne Ori combo, very, very deadly.
Yeah.
The moment you pop that Paranoia, takes away all of the, puts up all that fog of war. You can't see what's going on. You're in the domain expansion, and before you know it, there's a Orianna ball on top of you that's wrecking your day. Final pick to come in. We're looking in the top lane. We're looking at Surdy, and right now they're hovering that Aatrox.
Yeah, I mean, we could easily see that one locked in for him, even though it may not play as well early into the Renekton. Later on in that mid to late game, it is pretty solid. And honestly, I was thinking about the Kai'Sa there at the end, but okay, so it's the Kog'Maw. I think we haven't seen any of that so far in Challengers League Spring, but this is kind of what I was expecting, a sort of hyper carry with everything else that you picked on the rest of the map, and the Lulu, of course, to protect him, give him shields, and keep him in the fight.
I wonder if LS is molding or Shogo celebrating right now.
Ah!
Because Kog'Maw getting locked in. It's a little bit of an old school duo as well because Lulu does provide a lot of protection for the Kog'Maw. You can pop the R as well as the shielding that comes with health picks. So it's pretty nice. Double shields as well. Karma provides own layer of shielding. So this is a lot to get this puppy raised up to be the beast that it's supposed to be in the late game.
And it's a lot of pressure there for Wixie. I mean, you talked about Rosethorn getting a lot of pressure his way from this mid and top lane lock-in. I think Wixie now has a lot on his shoulders this game. A player who we've seen perform really well so far historically in this scene has always been a solid to pretty standout AD carry. So he has another chance to show us that.
And my worry right now is how much protection you can provide for this Kog'Maw in the bottom lane.
I mean, a lot.
I mean, yeah, okay, the shielding is fine, but the worry for me is once you're able to collapse onto that backside with both Chime, Shaden, there's going to be a lot pressuring Wixie, so that is my worry right there. You don't have much that peels off. It's a lot that protects and shields.
Yeah, I mean, FlyQuest, their comp is really going to be about that all-in. You're waiting till level 6 when you have that Nocturne Ori combination, when Chime can get access to the quickness. Your hope is that you can wombo combo your way to every team fight win past a certain point. And AOE kind of have the answer to that. Lulu, I think, is one of the best picks we could have seen into this comp, not just because of the shielding, the polymorph, but also that wild growth that is almost certainly going to be thrown Wixie's way. You pair that with Onat's Karma, they do have a real shot at winning these 5v5s in that mid to late game. It's really just going to come down to, does FlyQuest all in kill Wixie? Yeah? Cool. Otherwise, AOE could win it.
It really is just kind of one play that we're going to be looking for in the late game, and how well either you can defend from that or play towards that. Should be interesting as we start getting into the laning phase. Onat right now, I do like the fact that he's gone for the Karma because it means he's not as much trying to 1v1 quad, which we do know quad to be quite the beast, but we also know that Onat has a lot of respect for quad. When I had talked to Onat, he said his number one mid laner, without a doubt, is quad. He put himself around third, so, you know, I still like the fact that he has the confidence there.
I mean, even Chochi said, it may hurt my ego, but I have to say that it is quad. Like, every other player in this league definitely has respect for him, and it shows in the gameplay that we've seen from him so far.
Ooh, already Ghost going to be popped as Wixie and Breezy, this little Yordle and Pupper combination, wreaking havoc in the bot lane.
And it's a good punish. You really aren't gonna... This is what happens when you play even Zyra or Khan into double-range bot lanes. So I like that aggression from Wixie and Breezy to get that favorable health trade and pretty much guarantee not just the first level 2, but the fact that they're going to get this wave crashed in.
It's always very interesting to see a lot of the early game plans that come out of AOE because I do feel like a lot of their momentum is based in the early game and how Rosethorn paths, how much kind of gets broken by other junglers sometimes versus some of the earlier plays he's able to make. So I'm going to be watching Rosethorn, who is putting his attention towards the bot side, at least with this pathing.
That's right. He actually could be setting up for a mid gank, yeah. He knows Quad hasn't roamed for a ward. I'm wondering if he's going to force the flash.
Yeah, you do have the tether right now. This should get the flash out of Quad. And like that, a summoner is burnt, which means you don't have too much in terms of resources to get away from another gank. You only have the dissonance, which provides a movement speed buff.
Yeah, and it's really nice use of Rosethorn's time. He didn't really overcommit to the play. He showed himself, the tether came through, and you got the flash, and he can immediately go back to farming his last 2 camps. He's a little behind of Shaden, but I think that's absolutely worth, because now you have another play to make in these next couple of minutes, because Quad will be flashless.
Now Shaden, getting level 4, just goes for the full clear and will now take the recall. Now, when I look at some of the issues that I've seen with FlyQuest in the past, it usually revolves around some level of over-aggression. I know you were casting the Supernova game, but you had the dive that happened in Game 3 over in the top tower. And it was without Chime, right? Chime flashed, but they still initiated the engage. So stuff like that, I'm really hoping that FlyQuest have recognized some of the disconnects within their engages, because then you pretty much have the perfect team.
Yeah, 100%. I thought something was going to happen there. I think that's a really good shout, and I think, like I was saying earlier, a lot of credit to Supernova for their win. I think they had some really good game plans. I think FlyQuest draft in Game 2 was quite bad. So I still favor FlyQuest for the tournament, and if they clean up those mistakes that we saw. But I think that's just proof that this team can bleed. And Supernova kind of showed us that they did what Maryville couldn't do. Give FlyQuest their first loss.
Well, here comes Shaden down in the bottom lane. There's a ward, so they'll notice it, but it's coming in a little bit too late. Wixie still has his flash, but he does not have those. He's exhausted. He's going down. He can't even get Chime. It's first blood going over to Sajid.
Wow, it's a good angle there from Shaden. The fact is, you're usually not expecting a Nocturne to go for a gank pre-6 unless it's a really easy setup. And you'll see it, even though there was a ward, it doesn't matter. They wanted to pressure the turret. They wanted that turret plate that was there, and it just gave Shaden such an easy opportunity.
And you can see Wixie tries to make an attempt to go after Chime, but you're not getting that. The exhaust is down as well, so there was just no chance. Great play to come out of Shaden to focus down there as Rosethorn starts claiming some Void Grubs. Surdy's going to run interference.
Yeah, at the very least, it looks like Rosethorn was able to get 2. So if Shaden gets that third one, there is an opportunity for AOE to be able to get 5 Grubs after that second rotation, which could be pretty useful for them. And this is a team that I could see hitting turrets quite frequently, so they'd get a lot of value off of that neutral objective.
See right there, Zamudo kind of capitalizing on the fact that he had 6 before Surdy, and now he's using that to just bully away Surdy from the minion wave, try and zone him out. Let's get an advantage up there. It's a small CS lead thus far, but to get that against Surdy, always got to feel nice. Again, a lot of members within FlyQuest are seen as best in the role. I think that stands very, very true for Surdy. I know some people would argue Niles here and there, but I'm big on the Surdy train, man.
No, I definitely am too. Surdy, excuse me, definitely best in his role in their top side, especially in lane. I think that's something that's always been good to watch about him. Last time, I even remember last summer, during the lower finals match, he played the same matchup twice. It was Jax into Rumble. He got solo killed the first time, but honestly, between games 1 and 2, watching him change how he plays the matchup and getting a solo kill instead, it really tells you a lot of what you need to know about a player like him. Very adaptable, very good in lane, and okay.
Yeah, wrong place
we got 6.
to be. Rosethorn flashes over the wall, but so does Sajid. We'll be able to take down Rosethorn, and he tried to go for the invade. He tried to steal away, but you got to be careful when the paranoia is off cooldown.
And that's just great vision control coming through from FlyQuest Challengers, expecting the invade for the Raptors, and the team just came to pounce immediately.
Another look at that right now. I mean, that's the paranoia. The range is a little bit smaller, but from mid lane to the Raptor is going to be easy.
It's fine.
Does get the flash out of Sajid, so you do got some timers you can kind of dance around, but overall, net win for FlyQuest. Big time.
Yeah, it is a big dub, and I think something FlyQuest honestly do pretty well. You watch some of their series, and it feels suffocating to play against them because the plays you try to make usually end up being on vision. The things you try to do are spotted out and responded to. And now you just find yourself a little further into the hole as AOE. I think it's okay, all things considered. You look at Wixie, he's up 20 CS, which makes up a little bit for the kill deficit between him and Sajid. He's also close to getting a second plate too. So this Kog'Maw is in a pretty decent spot. Zamudo's got a good lead for himself too. So I'm not too worried yet if I'm an AOE fan.
Now this Kog'Maw still able to shove in the wave. Went Berserker's Greaves first, so have that movement speed. As well as the paranoia just went down, so you're not afraid of that ultimate right now. You can push forward, and that second plate will be collected.
Yeah, that's right. And it's interesting to note, too, the only objective really touched at the moment was the Grubs. 2 going for AOE, 1 for FlyQuest. But now we're finally just now seeing this first dragon to come through. I mean, you've had Constant bot Prio as AOE, and because I favor their scaling in that mid to late game, I think it's fine for them to leave the Drake, but I mean, if it's going to be up this long, they have the space for it, they can just get it for themselves.
Simple take right now, AoE. A little bit late for the Dragon take, but taken nonetheless. Secure the first Drake of the game. Now Shaden headed over towards this top side. Zamudo doesn't want to give away a lot of that momentum he's been able to establish. And for the most part, I don't see too much pressure coming here towards the top side. I do see Shaden trying to lock in more with what is happening either in the mid lane or in the bottom lane. It's very easy to catch out a Kog'Maw if you're able to get it at the right time. Given Chime is going to be level 6, that combination provides a lot of lockdown.
Oh, wow.
Mid lane it's going to be. Chime has arrived, and that combo will be used right onto Onat.
Wow.
Onat's still going to survive. Wow, that's the power of the shielding. All that utility, all that supporting, it comes through for Onat.
And this is just gives you an idea of exactly what I was talking about there in Chance Select. The fact that you can sustain through that damage, that initial wombo combo from the Nocturne Ori, and that's basically what Wixie is working with in these mid to late game team fights. More itemization is going to come through. The Xayah is going to get involved, so maybe things will turn out differently. But I think this is a good preview of how AOE can win this game.
And also, very good heads up from Breezy to be in the mid lane at that time, because Onat would have been dead to rights. Now look at this teleport coming in. It's just to get back to lane for Onat, but also giving a little threat towards Quad. Give him a hassle. Yes, take the long way around.
Yeah, just spook him a little bit. Be like, oh, hey, I'm coming from over here. But it's pretty easy for him to get away from all that.
Is it Onat or is it Zamudo?
I mean, you saw Zamudo top lane, so it's probably fine. And right now, we're seeing Rosethorn go for the next spawn of the Grubs. I am curious to see how many of them he is going to get. That will be the first one. If he can get all 3, then they will be able to get the Void Might spawning as well. So that's kind of what I'm looking out for.
Now, actually, I got to hold that thought. There might be a fight coming out soon.
I think so.
I do see the potential for a pinch over towards the Void Grubs.
Nah, they're letting it go.
Okay, yeah. Gonna allow that to go by the wayside. But now I want to focus onto the bottom lane real quick, since we have the camera down here anyway. For this Kog'Maw, what do you perceive to be the win conditions? What do you want to see this Kog'Maw do before, say, the 20-minute moment?
It's funny because part of it is a little less about Wixie and what the team is going to be able to do for him. He needs the space to be able to output damage. Oh, hold on.
All right, Paranoia used in the top lane. They want to chase down the Croc. Smudo not in a good way, but nice. Ruthless Predator. He's able to heal up a lot of that thanks to the Dominus. Now over the wall comes Rosethorn looking for Chime. Chime will dash away.
Yeah, you're going to be able to set down a little bit of vision. You're going to be able to force Chime away. But overall, I think it's a big deal for Zamudo to not actually allow his death after a play like that. That's just more time the Paranoia is down, and that's more time the AOE, they feel a little bit safer on the map. You've played against Nocturne. I mean, surely everyone has, right? When that ult just goes off, you feel a little better. You can breathe easier, step a little farther forward for about a minute, and then you start getting, paranoid about it, for lack of a better word. So there is that time for AOE to get a little aggressive and look for a play themselves, so my eyes are on Rosethorn for that.
Yeah, everything's peachy until that looming cloud that is Shaden's ultimate start wrecking the day. As AOE begin to group up around the Dragon Pit area. It's still a minute 30 seconds before that dragon does come up. AOE might look for a dragon stacking angle. If they do get it going early, it's definitely very viable given the scaling that you're looking to do with this squad.
Right, the first one went down at just before 9 minutes, if I'm remembering correctly, so it'll be a little bit of a later soul than one would expect. Oh, Surdy?
Oh, boy.
Oh.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know how that could have ever worked, but I would have respected the attempt.
The observers, they're just messing with us. They're trying to scare us.
I mean, I think Surdy's messing with us, if anything.
But yeah, that
Blame our ops team.
Let me.
No.
Okay,
they do good work, Eric. How dare you?
Actually, yeah. Especially the way Kai trolled Cubby last few times
exactly.
on broadcast.
We love that. We love Kai.
Good stuff right there. And so far, the good stuff has been coming out from FlyQuest when it comes to making the map plays. But when you start looking at the farm, that's where you see a different story being told, right? Wixie has been able to farm up, grab some plates as well. Same thing with Zamudo, who's held strong against Surdy in the top side.
Yeah, if Prod could even show us the gold differences right now, I'm kind of curious where everyone is at lane by lane. You see, despite 2 kills going over to FlyQuest, it's just a net 400 gold lead. Part of that is because Zamudo has the lead. You have... Actually, that's kind of it. It's really just Zamudo kind of holding things together a little bit and why FlyQuest don't have the biggest lead. But overall, things are pretty close. 200-300 gold, it really doesn't matter too much, but I think we have a fight for this next Drake.
Here comes Lightning. Rosethorn doesn't go for the audacious charge on it. Instead, here comes the engage.
Nice
flash coming out of Wixie. Gets him over the wall, but he's not in the fight. Crescent Guard protects Rosethorn. Now Chime on the sidelines getting chased out by Wixie.
It's playable.
FlyQuest will be forced to back off. Their ultimates are down.
I mean, the big combo's out of the way. Chime still has his ult, and Wixie is flashless. So Breezy needs to sit on top of this Kog'Maw if FlyQuest want a chance to win this fight.
Okay, health remains on the Dragon. Shaden getting closer. Watch out for Chime. He's looking for the back line. He'll get the knock-up on the Rosethorn. Rosethorn falls critically low. One more auto could take him down, but the ultimate's going to be used. Giving him health right back. Sajed goes deep. Dragon secured over by FlyQuest. Now the chase begins. A little bit too low on the health bar. Shaden will grab one. Rue able to get the Q right on the Chime. Chime still alive. Corralled into the Dragon Pit. Wixie's looking to feast. Will not take down Shaden. The flashes come out in time, and FlyQuest, they'll be able to slip out with their lives intact.
Not just their lives, a dragon, a kill. Really nicely played there from FlyQuest. Despite that Nocturne Ori combo being out of the way, they still played that fight really nicely and applied so much pressure to Wixie that we didn't see a lot of DPS from him in that fight. Zamudo, he's walking his way back after he tried to show up and help his team for that Drake. But now that Drake stacking angle is kind of out of the picture, at least anytime soon when it comes to a Dragon Soul.
It's going to be out of it for a while. I mean, oh, there were so many just kills prime for the taking for Wixie. This could have been a really big play for AOE, man. When I saw the two of them just in the back of the pit, I was like, I hope they don't have flash. Nope. Ultimately able to get over.
Yeah, I mean, again, it was well played there from FlyQuest. The lead still isn't that big, but this is a way that FlyQuest can win out on these team fights. I think right now Sajed is in trouble. No flash.
Here we go. Sajed getting picked off. He
they got him.
Go down, and it's a shutdown picked up by Wixie. Ooh, that's money going over to the Kog'Maw beat.
And that is money we like. Absolutely. If you're AOE, that's a really great feeling for them. And, oh, no, Eric. We have a pause.
It would happen. It is the North American Amateur Special, of course, Tier 2, at least for this one. But yeah, as we do go in a pause, I mean, that is one condition now starting to get met for AOE, and that's getting this money, getting income onto the Kog'Maw. I will say again, I think the fight around the Dragon, maybe when we go back, we can get another look at it, because there's a lot of things to talk about there. The fact that the Nocturne Ori combo didn't get a kill was good for AoE. It cost Wixie his flash, though. They weren't really ready to commit the Wild Growth yet, the Mantra E from Onat either, and I'm really interested in what that is going to look like going forward, because if Wixie has to flash every time, then I take back what I said earlier. AoE, I think team fighting later on will be very difficult for them. And plus, because his flash was down, because Wixie had to pay his respects a little bit because of the Chime's ult and the engage that he also offers, there wasn't a lot of there wasn't a lot of damage coming through from this Kog'Maw in that fight. And I think that's going to be kind of the reoccurring tale. How well does FlyQuest get onto the Kog'Maw, and what is the Kog'Maw burning to get away from that? Like, if we get towards the later stages where we can just have shields on shields on shields on shields and the Kog'Maw can just literally be a turret, then worries aren't going to be too bad for AoE, and that's going to come later into the game, though. That's something you have to scale up for to get to that point where the Kog'Maw is just a damage machine. So this gives so much in terms of windows of opportunity to be capitalized on for FlyQuest to shut this down before it gets going. But that's the thing that's happening right now. Even though FlyQuest are getting a lot of these kills, the gold is still relatively even, and you did just get that shutdown that was mentioned earlier on Wixie.
Yeah, so that feels really good if you're AoE, because you're getting gold on this Kog'Maw and how strong and how necessary he is for your teamfight damage. But we still haven't seen the full-out 5v5s. We haven't seen the space that Zamudo is able to get on this Renekton as well. The threaten on squishies, like Sajed, like Quad in these team fights as well, and how he's going to be able to impact the damage FlyQuest can do in team fights. So that's why it's still up in the air for me how this is going to go for certain in that mid to late game. But I think if FlyQuest keep playing fights the way they have, especially these last two that we've seen, it is looking pretty good for them, I gotta say. I really like the use of the Nocturne Ori combo first, and then using Chime as that second engage with the ult, with the Grand Entrance coming through on this Rakan.
Yeah, that is what's really nice about FlyQuest is when their engages are together, they're really just locked in, and that is like a majority of the time for FlyQuest. I want to give a lot of credit towards Chime. We talked about it a little bit in the pregame, but Chime has been credited quite a few times and through a couple people I've talked to about being the main shot caller for this squad. So, you know, yeah, you burn 2 ultimates, but Chime's like, I still have my ult. We can still threaten. And having moments like that really does have him shine through as a support and as a playmaker for FlyQuest.
Yeah, and it is a really great thing to see for players. I mean, again, like I'm just gonna keep beating this dead horse in the fact that we keep saying the path to pro like isn't linear. Seeing players like Chime, you know, have middling to not great performances in the LCS, come back to Challengers League, try to make their way back up. I mean, that is just as popular as the story these days as new talent.
I mean,
rising their way
Dokla
through
was
the ranks.
first MVP, right?
Yeah, man, exactly.
Most valuable prospect, to be clear.
Right, of course. And the fact that we're seeing this happen again and again is just a great thing because Chime is just the latest example of that.
And I do think there are definitely more examples to be had, but it's easier to talk about FlyQuest given the fact of their track record, man. They had a really good season.
Yeah.
You know, only fell to Supernova in the regular season. For AOE, the season was rough for them. You know, we have expectations of these players that they can perform at a level above what we've been seeing out of regular season AOE, and that's why it's a little bit disappointing to see them finish 8th. Given the way the standings went, if they had a good final 2 weeks, they could have popped up anywhere else in that standings.
It could have been 4th, I believe it was, yeah.
But I mean, yeah, that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, and you have to deal with what the hand that you're dealt. Unfortunately, this case, it's against FlyQuest. FlyQuest are still looking good, but what I'm liking right now is AOE are not just falling apart. They very clearly have come in with the game plan, which is already, they have an identity, so I like that coming from
100%.
them.
Agreed, and I think I like this comp that we've seen from AOE so far. I think definitely they are still in the game, even though they're down, I believe it's 2 kills before the pause ended up going through Eric, so I'm not really like, you know, it's not all doom and gloom yet for AOE,
no,
not at all. I think they have a really strong shot in this game, and I think that would be a great thing for them because we talk about how we thought we'd see more from them going into playoffs, and now they have a really difficult first opponent to the point where I think anyone who watches Challengers League, including us, is like, I mean, first round FlyQuest, sorry boys, you know, at least you have a second life. But the fact that they are playing pretty formidably so far in this game 1, I think is a really good sign, and if they're able to actually take a game, that's what we want to see.
I want to bring it back to a word I used earlier, identity. This was a problem I kind of had with AOE in the regular season, as I never felt like they had an established identity as we went through the season. It didn't feel like I knew what AOE was. So these last couple of weeks, I feel like we've kind of been dialing into that more and more, where we're getting these comps that have much more clear win conditions.
Yes,
as
agreed.
we do head back into the game right now. But yeah, I do feel like this has been a journey of discovery for AOE.
It has been, and hopefully their journey lasts a little bit longer as we start off playoffs.
Here we go, Chime looking for the engage. Oh, they just
there he goes.
Wixie, man. And forced to flash over the wall. Breezy is able to escape, but here comes Zamudo, wants to bring one right back for AOE. As Chime runs out, AOE are able to retaliate, trading 1 for 1, but they lost their marksman.
Looks like they're maybe letting go of the Herald as well. No, okay. Yeah, they're actually just not going to stick onto it, which is a little surprising to me. They ended up losing Wixie instantly. To be fair, Onat was TPing into the fight as soon as that paranoia started. So they didn't have access to those big Karma shields either in the fight. But again, that's just an example of how these fights look. If FlyQuest are able to get that first kill onto somebody like Wixie.
And that is FlyQuest being well aware of those flash timers. It was burned earlier during the play where we had Shaden try to chase down Wixie with the paranoia, flashed over the wall. Understanding that that flash is down, that's going to be the most crucial summoner spell for AOE. Whenever Wixie's flash is down, you got to worry.
And now there's going to be an easy opportunity for FlyQuest because Rosethorn, I believe, was spotted on that bottom side for them to just be able to go ahead and grab the Rift Herald for themselves. This is nice too for FlyQuest. They can easily hold that and drop it mid lane as we get closer to this next dragon, which is going to be the Ocean Drake, leading towards a potential Ocean Soul.
And I want to kind of ask Surdy now how he feels about Zamudo's performance, because I got to give credit to Zamudo. Yeah, it's been a little bit weird of a season for him, but he's actually standing pretty strong here in the top lane, holding his own against Surdy.
Yeah, Zamudo's has been an interesting journey from him. He's a player, when we first saw him in Tier 3 on teams like Third Party, a lot of us were really excited for him to get into Challengers League. And I think even last year, things were really up and down for him, but the highs, Eric, the highs have been so high. So it's really cool to see Zamudo go back to that, at least so far in this series here against FlyQuest Challengers, and hopefully that keeps up. I think he had a lot of value in that last team fight there. When he popped the Dominus, and this is kind of what I was alluding to during the pause. To hold that thought because they might put a pause onto Onat's life.
Yeah, they want to target the O Nation. They got a missile ready, and its name is Shaden. Chime as well.
Oh,
he's trying to cut the wave away, but I'm sorry, you're going to go down. Try and burn that flash. You do not escape the darkness. Shaden will be able to dive, and Chime will grab the kill.
And that is a brutal one there. And Shaden, of course, gets the fast back because he's holding on to the Eye of the Herald. And that's nice. You get that extra bit of gold into your back pocket. You don't need to take that tier 1, and you can just immediately get set up for this next Drake. Vision right now. It looks good for AOE, but FlyQuest, they're going to have an easy opportunity to drop the Herald mid, get that move towards his bottom side, and get set up, established for themselves.
See some of that vision right now as we get the disconnect right there. No, don't worry. There's no pause right now. For those who were wondering, Zamudo's internet did crash, so they had to pause for that, and that's why we had that little hiccup there. But as we start focusing on to the hands of the Baron, as our observer loves to do, we do see a turret goes down over in the top side. That's going to be solo brick gold going out for Quad.
Which feels really good here, and it's actually going to be Quad getting a chance to back TP, and there is that angle. It's a little late. Dragon has already started. Oh, but it's looking like they actually don't want to fight for the Drake. They get the teleport out, and all their focus is just going to be on this mid-tier 1 turret. They could get a second charge as well.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, they don't feel pressed for the Drake right now. They were already able to steal one away, so Dragon stacking is going to take longer. Why not just take structures? Now Rosethorn attempts a little bit of a bluff right there. FlyQuest going to call it out and just back off.
I like that call. AOE is nowhere near a Dragon Soul. You don't want to take a risky fight like that while Paranoia is down. Instead, use the Herald. Get some more gold into your pockets and get that tier 2 low enough that the next opening that FlyQuest have, they're going to be able to knock that one down and get even more gold.
Now, here's my worry at the moment. Shaden and Quad are being menaces. They're just walking around looking for the next person who they're going to use the Paranoia Shockwave on.
Yep.
Earlier when Onat was ganked, I was really hoping he wasn't going to burn his flash for that one. You're dead to rights. You got to know that's going to happen. So now that this kill squad is freed up, Onat's flashless. They're aware of that timer. They could keep going towards that side lane and punishing the mid laner of AOE.
Another scary thing, too, is that Shaden's immediately going into that Frozen Heart after the experimental Hex play. Again, a lot of this DPS, basically all of it, from AOE's side is on Wixie, so you want to limit that as much as you can. Make it harder for him to get his auto attacks down. At least now he has his flash back up, and the next major objective to keep your eyes on is the Herald. So it does mean that, AOE, they do have a decent fighting chance, especially reaching that second item power spike. Did I say Herald? I'm at Baron.
Called out by the observer.
I'm just testing to see if you guys are paying attention. Kai was paying attention, but you weren't, Eric, so why don't you keep up?
No, I saw it too.
Did you ever think of that?
I saw it too.
But you didn't say anything, so it doesn't count.
Hey, I'm letting you sink on that ship alone.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. Let's take a look at our timers right now. We got 3 minutes before the next Dragon comes up. Not going to be too crucial of one. AOE would only get Dragon Soul Point at that moment. That's something we'd bring it up. That FlyQuest have kind of decelerated this game and have gone for objectives elsewhere on the map right now. FlyQuest, it's only a small lead really coming out for them, so AOE, they got to feel okay heading into this stage of the game, but it's definitely going to be rough waters for the next 8-ish minutes. You still want more items on this Gogma.
It's still hard because... Oh, hold on.
Oh, here we go. Remember, Onat does not have flash, so he can't press this if he wants to. Also should not, because Shaden's right there.
The thing that is really difficult is that AOE have had a very difficult time tracking Shaden. So even though the gold lead is not very large, as you say, Eric, the thing that you're dealing with is that you feel very exposed on side lane, especially Onat, as he is going to be the target. He's a little easier to kill than Zamudo on this Renekton, right? So unless you can reliably track this Nocturne, it is a little harder for you to get any real map pressure until you can confirm where he actually is. I think FlyQuest have been playing around this one very well, clearing vision, make sure Shaden is always in the darkness.
Oh, Caught out, it's going to be Quad, but nope,
Is he,
gets
though?
flipped right on it. It's Rosethorn who's in a bad way. Quad does have flash, can't get over that wall. Here comes the
Oh,
shot.
wow.
Zamudo's in a world of
Whoa.
hurt. Quad is able to escape, but the damage was brought face forward by AOE, who will chase FlyQuest out.
Wow, I mean, whoever got caught, it felt like it kept going back and forth. First
Yeah.
it was FlyQuest, then it was
Hot potato,
AOE.
man.
But yeah, but now you have a really good opportunity. The Paranoia and the Shockwave are down. Like I was saying before, AOE have a chance to actually push forward. They can actually push forward a little on side lane if they want to. Set up vision around these neutral objectives as well. And hopefully can use this as a better chance to try and track Shaden, to get an idea on where he is.
This is what AOE always got to recognize. When that ultimate is down, it's a tempo swing going over to AOE. This is your time to move on the map and establish your vision, because a lot of this map has been dark for AOE, especially down on the side of FlyQuest. And that makes it very difficult when you want to play for these side lanes and try and open up this map. So AOE, they're trying to get that forward vision, but not able to get too much out of it. And we still got a minute before Dragon does spawn. So already on vision denial duty is Chime.
Yeah, and it's good too. I like the focus on this top side. You have between the Nocturne and the Xayah, you do take this Baron, I guess, relatively quickly. It's no double marksman comp, but you see Rosethorn is hovering here to see if someone tries to ward that Raptors near the Raptors rush, because getting eyes on the Baron is so important.
That flash was so quick out of Breezy. Not going to play with fire. Teleport comes out from Mudo, who joins the fray, but only going to draw the battle lines for now. We still got 15 seconds before Dragon comes up.
This should be a pretty solid chance at a Drake for AOE. You still have a lot of other tools to play for but your biggest one in the Paranoia is gone. This could be that second angle that I mentioned earlier, though. They could just escort a wave into the tier 2 turret, but AOE, they're keeping their eye on this, so they are going to be able to just clear that out.
You know, the Paranoia being down is one thing. It stops that backline engage that FlyQuest have. But you also have to recognize the Shockwave. When Shockwave's up, it can turn a team fight on a dime, especially around these choke points around Baron. You can see Quad trying to zone out AoE from getting closer.
No, I mean, this is good, though. AoE just showing up to make FlyQuest back away while Wixie's soloing the Drake this whole time. It means that they're actually going to get that Drake essentially for nothing because Shaden used this Paranoia prematurely earlier. So I think that's just good recognition from AoE. As long as they can walk away from this situation, go back to their side of the map, this is great.
This is AoE utilizing the windows that they need to. Paranoia is down. Let's go take advantage of the map as best as we can. Got a drag out of Wixie with it. Chased away FlyQuest from Baron with it. Now they're defending the next siege that FlyQuest are posturing up for in the mid lane.
I'm not sure they're going to actually be able to do it, so they will get that opportunity. I like what FlyQuest were doing, zoning AoE, forcing them to walk through their own jungle the long way to give them an easy track to knocking down the tier 2 turret. So that is a nice, easy chunk of change into FlyQuest's back pocket. And it doesn't mean the third Drake went for something, but AoE is still in a pretty good position. Soul point coming through here.
Zamudo, he's out of position, caught out. 3 members on him. Shockwave goes off, and Quad will claim the kill. AoE down a top laner.
And now this is a good chance for them to go for the Baron if they would want to. I had a big frontliner for the side of AoE is gone.
Not again.
Oh,
let's not do this twice. Satya does have the Featherstorm. He can press. He can be aggressive. And he'll chase away Rosethorn, who's forced to use the Crescent Guard. But look at Wixie fire away. Chime filling the fire of Wixie.
Yeah, that is a lot of damage coming through from this Kog'Maw. It's going to be tough, though. I mean, Sajet has enough health that he's going to be able to easily clear out this mid wave. It means that AoE aren't able to actually get the mid-tier 1 for it, which would have been really nice. But you can see it. Slowly but surely, FlyQuest, they have gotten this gold up to about 2,100. And they're really starting to pull away in terms of aggregate gold compared to AoE.
Big respect to AoE for recognizing, on top of that, Zamudo was taken, right? They took down Zamudo. That's not where our damage is coming from. That's not where our fight is coming from. Wixie is our main carry right here. So even with Zamudo going down, it shows you how much of a threat AoE pose when Wixie is unchecked.
Right, and that's kind of what I'm waiting for. It feels like this whole game, we haven't seen a straight-up 5v5. FlyQuest have always been putting their thumb on the scale, so to speak. Always setting up these scenarios where it's 2v1, 3v4, always getting some kind of numbers advantage. And unless FlyQuest get a really great setup, they're not going to be able to make that happen when this Dragon Soul comes up in the next 2 minutes. So that's really where my eyes are set. AOE, they have an opportunity to get a very powerful buff in that Dragon Soul, and how are FlyQuest going to be able to stop them?
So far, playing towards the side lanes will be Surdy. He does take his recall, has teleport available if FlyQuest need to pull for a fight right now. A little bit tricky for AOE to kind of get the engage going. Mostly that's coming from what? An Audacious Charge, Slice and Dice from Zamudo. It's FlyQuest who really hold the cards on a lot of these engages, and AOE have been able to capitalize on some of the more sloppier ones from FlyQuest, but right now, FlyQuest still have a 2k lead, and it has been slowly creeping up. And now, I'm going to look for this next purchase out of Wixie. I did say a little bit 8 minutes later is when we should start to see Wixie blow up. I was looking for that third item. It is now completed for Wixie.
Yeah, the Terminus is really nice too. The pen, the defensive stats you get after just a handful of auto attacks. Since they buffed it on this patch, I am a really big fan of this item, especially for the on-hit 80 carries. So this might make Wixie able to survive a little bit longer in these team fights. I will say, FlyQuest, they've got the map in a pretty good position here. Surdy, I like that he was able to push that bottom wave in deep. He went to the other side of the map and kept top pushing as well, and look what it's resulted in. And this opening for FlyQuest to get some really deep vision, take away jungle camps from Rosethorn, and shut AoE out from this bottom side of the map, where their Dragon Soul is going to be spawning in less than a minute's time. Walking into Fog against FlyQuest comp, it feels really bad, man. So it seems like these side lanes are probably going to continue to be unaddressed by AoE. They're just going to have to move as a 5-man to push mid brute force and try to walk in through the river to get to this Drake, because they need it.
This is what makes it such a challenge. FlyQuest put a hard emphasis on vision control. Take a look at the vision over by the Dragon. Take a look at the vision that we're following right now that was just swept out that AoE have to reestablish. This has been really well situated for FlyQuest throughout most of this game. Every time Chime makes a recall, he's always looking for more wards to sweep away. But look at this call now coming out. FlyQuest going straight for the Baron. AoE running right over.
Yeah, and again, AoE, they just lose their position instantly.
Chime.
FlyQuest must be looking for the turn.
Chime, he's able to get 4 people in the
Oh my god!
My word! FlyQuest will outright destroy AoE! Zamudo tries to run a double kill for Shaden. It's a catastrophe. Everything falls to pieces and FlyQuest take the team fight win.
And that delicate balance we saw throughout most of this game, it's gone. Just like that, FlyQuest shoot up to a 5,000 gold lead. They're going to get themselves the Baron, and of course, they're going to deny the Soul. Rosethorn is the only one left, but Shaden and Surdy are here to deny that Drake.
Oh, see, Shaden and Surdy chasing away Rosethorn. They'll take the Drake for themselves. My god, beatdown. My god, Chime is an absolute beast, dude. Did you see that flank? Did you see that engage?
This is the best team in the league for you, everybody. We're going to see it again in the replay. Chime has the angle, and nobody checks that brush. And by the time they do, it is way too late. It just doesn't get any better than that. Wixie never had a chance. And as soon as he goes down, the rest of this doesn't even matter.
Chime. That's all I can say right there. Just chime, chime, chime. What an engage. What a way to get FlyQuest on board. This is that shot caller that FlyQuest have been crediting so much, have given so much glory. He knows his angles, he knows his windows, he knows his timing, he knows his damn flanks, man. And now FlyQuest in the driver's seat. 7K, what was just 2K moments ago.
A 5,000 gold swing in less than a minute's time. Astonishing, Eric. And now they're going to be sieging the base really easily with these Baron-up powered minions. Inhibitors are going to very shortly be under threat as they turn their sights to this bottom side of the map.
Zamudo, trying to play some level of distraction, but you're going to forfeit your tower over to Surdy. Now here comes FlyQuest knocking at your door, breaking it down, taking the hinges, throwing them in the trash. Half health remains on that inhibitor. Still the wave being pushed into the bottom lane, all the meanwhile by Surdy. Again, FlyQuest feeling good about this one, wearing purple. Will take down an inhibitor in the mid lane. AoE struggling to find an answer towards this siege that's coming out from FlyQuest already. Rosethorn's losing a lot of health.
Yep.
He might die. Ooh, will burn the Crescent Guard to get out from this, but now you don't have a jungler on this defense. Wixie needs to be protected. Here we go, engage goes. Doesn't find Wixie, but Wixie's still gonna get knocked up by Chime in the process. Wild Growth gonna be used onto Wixie. Wixie on the defensive, no longer has his flash, but there's no more engage left. Now here comes Sajed, takes down the Gator, over the wall, Wixie,
they got him!
Forward! Shaden will take him down, Quad will grab another one, and FlyQuest start off playoffs with a banger. While AOE hold the line, when FlyQuest break it, they leave it in pieces. Game number 1 going to FlyQuest Challengers.
11,000 gold ahead to finish game 1, and they're going to make it a little bit more. They're going to have a little fun, Eric. But wow, what a statement from our number 1 seed.
Incredible FlyQuest Challengers. That was some good stuff right there. But again, all the credit in the world towards Chime. I know we hyped up Surdy quite a bit at the start of the show. Well, Surdy's job there was to just make sure things get by, you know. It was Chime who was putting on the carry pants and finding those great engages, and especially that final one. Mwah! Chef's kiss.
It was just a great look from FlyQuest pretty much the entire time. I think it was really nice that the way they were playing out these team fights, Eric. It wasn't just simply this autopilot Nocturne Ori every time. They would start with different ults. They would, at that last fight, it started with Chime's ult, which they hadn't really done so far in that game, but it set up what was essentially the game-winning fight for them as far as I'm concerned. And it was just really nicely done on top of the vision control, the use of the Nocturne ult. It was just all great.
Yeah, that shockwave. Ooh, man, Wixie, I'm sorry, I felt that one too. Chime did you dirty with it. And of course, Quad brings the damage. We're going to throw it over a short break. When we return, we'll get into game number 2 and see if AOE have an answer.
They said it couldn't be done. They said the world would never accept a cookie this long. Or a churro, and probably not a pretzel either. They also said, under no circumstances should those really long and delicious treats be wildly affordable. To which we said, but we already made them. And they are. Introducing the incredible new foot-long sidekicks. Get one at Subway today.
Rain. Ground. Flame. Gas. Long ago, the 4 nations lived together in harmony. And then everything changed.
Oh boy, time finds Dapshin! Here comes Zamudo! A claymore to the face of Cincinnati Fear!
Here comes Keel, looking to rip and bear them apart. As he jumps in, the shuffle comes in from Spyrax, has to flash back over the wall. TLC are on retreat. Over comes Scary Jerry with the double kill, and Maryville University are back in it.
No contest from Lit. They might get Tenacity, but they might all just get wiped. Tenacity picks up another kill, flashes away from Rockboom.
Looking for more. He's got the death from below yet again, but he can't get it. Here it comes. One more. Give him another one. As it's coming through, he misses it, but it's Supernova running away. Flap, 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 and the wings start beating. The Elder Dragon starts soaring. And Team Liquid have done it.
Check it. He does have Shockwave. Breezy.
Oh, handshake comes down! Shock Wave! Toasty will take them down! Turns it onto Rosethorn, and all by himself, all by his lonesome, he gets it done!
Quacker gets onto the carry. Massive Shockwave from Dark Wings, and Aaron's gonna be the one picking up all the kills. A Quadra to Wildcard's bot laner, and what an explosive end to the game!
Only the Avatar, the master of the 4 elements, seemed unstoppable.
The death sword's gonna hit on
Quad.
the 2, and look at those fangs sinking deep. It's like a snake eating the entire team.
But I believe that NACL can save the world. The future of the LCS starts right after the LCS.